Hello everybody and welcome back to another Wuthering Waves video. Today we're going to be talking about the drip marketing for 2.7 being Chisa and the many questions this drip marketing brings as we dive into the new era of Wuthering Waves, my friends. My goodness, when I say that this drip marketing creates so many questions, I'm not kidding. This is probably going to be the longest drip marketing video I have for one character. So once again, I read it all so you don't have to. So please sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy any of Wuthering Waves content, and let's dive right in, my friends. Now, my goodness, has it only been 5 months? It's been 5 months since this happened, and bam, look at where we are today. Does it ever drive you crazy just how fast the night changes, my friends? I can't believe we're here. We've been in Rinascita so long. Qiuyuan's not even out, but Chisa is here. What is it, to steal the show? And I mean, of course I'm playing for Qiuyuan, but my god, Chisa, the most popular character on the drip marketing, even more popular than the Qiuyuan, and the Qiuyuan is already insane. All right, but Chisa, man, this is just crazy. So yep, here we are with Chisa. So let's go ahead and start talking about you know, the text, what is it, and what we have here, and then we'll start talking about the art, you know, background and so on. By the way, I gotta appreciate the music, dude. The music is so good. Like, it really is. It's really strange to come out of, you know, Rinascita, where we have orchestra and, you know, opera and a lot of vocals and, you know, a lot of grandiose nature of, you know, music. And this one, you know, it feels very, like, you know, a lot of comments say it feels very nostalgic. You know, it feels very, you know, electro. It feels very, you know, it feels very vibey. It's a very different feel all the way around. But here we go. Upon analyzing the structure and observed its hardness, she identifies and then severs the enemy's weak threads, unraveling their structural integrity in one sharp cut in the scissor hands. And of course, I missed a line up here. She sees the weakness in the form of threads. So, you know, some people akin this to the likeness of Demon Slayer, where the characters have the ability to see the opening thread, you know, which is basically the guaranteed finisher, you know, to any demon. So, you know, Chisa might be very similar in that way, you know, where she can always see the enemy's weaknesses. I don't know how that's going to translate into gameplay, but it's going to be a real cool forte ability if that's the case. And if we move on to the next piece of drip marketing we have here, the full image itself, my god, is it beautiful. I will sever this deadlock, probably her. Chisa is a conspicuous, level-headed student of the Star Torch Academy. To her, everything can be broken down, analyzed, and resolved with the exception of human bonding. Bonds can be severed, but this fragility is what makes this precious. So, interestingly enough, I think Chisa is, you know, especially just based on her demeanor, right? You know, in the original drip marketing that we have over here, you know, she's kind of looking off to the side. She's like, oh, you know, like whatever. And of course, being, you know, this part of the Star Torch Academy and how a lot of the academics are in this game, she's gonna be a little distant and possibly even a little more prickly. You know, she's kind of not really having a care in the world, just kind of sitting on top of, you know, like these sky cranes in this new wonderful nation, which we'll talk about where this is in a second. But yeah, I mean, come on, Chisa's design's 10 out of 10, instant pull. What is it? I'll wail if I have to. You know, I really don't I hope I have to, but she's coming right after Qiuyuan. So just make sure that you save up, you know, because he's not even out yet. He's gonna be here in a few weeks. What is it? And I'm instantly pulling for him. I mean, he's freaking awesome. What is it? I wish I could pull for Galbrena, but no, this lineup is already insane. And of course, you know, we have maybe, who knows how many patches we have left. This one is 2.8. So this one you have about 4 weeks until Chisa happens. And then I'm predicting a 2.9 because there's a very important resonator that hasn't been shown yet. But regardless of that, yeah, Chisa's great. What is it? Super duper interested to see what happens with her. Now comes the question of why this drip marketing is bananas. Okay, so first off, where are we? Oh my goodness. Look at this. Cityscapes, Ferris wheels, tower cranes. Does this look like anywhere in Wuthering Waves you've been before? No. You know why? Because we've been living in the hellscape of the side of the world that's not necessarily not developed. It's just that everything is in ruins, and this is where, you know, this nation, what is it in the background, which I mean, we're going to talk about which one it actually is in a second, is just fully built. Like, you know, we're literally in an urban cityscape, and that is crazy. But do not be deterred, because not only do we have a new symbol, and you want to have a bit of a closer look at all of that stuff right here. So that's not it. Here we see the sort of what is it, we right triangle. This one's more akin to a measuring shape. We have the fatter line on the outside and the diagonal going across, as well as DNA going through. And here's another look at this version. What is it, there's some triangles off to the side, but this is kind of the main symbol of this new area. And of course, you know, a couple other things, you know, just mentioning angles and stuff. But thanks to Anxient, again, I'm going to link anything that I talk about here in the description. But you can see that she has a bunch of stuff, you know, on her scissor blade. You know, we kind of knew this already from the original drip marketing. We saw that it was a scissor blade, but also you know, a ruler. And then if we take it apart now, thanks to their amazing photoshopping, we have a T-square. What is it, we have a helix ruler, and then what is it, we also have the actual ruler on the other side of the sword, which, I mean, we knew, we've seen that since the dawn of time, ever since you got drip marketed. But that's super cool. I think that's a really awesome design, and kind of attributes the entire thing to her, you know, mostly being someone a little more researcher and, you know, what is it, sort of techie than I think we imagined. Because I think once we saw her, we're like, oh yeah, she's gonna be like, you know, a seamstress or something. What is it, but no, definitely not. She might have some interest in the topic, but she's mostly here, what is it, probably for like scientific research and woo-woo, which is very, very important. But again, we see all kinds of things here. We see the golden ratio. But going back to the city, there's obviously something on the horizon, that being you know, Wuthering Waves standard fare being the giant necro star. What is it, if you recall, right there, this is from what is it, the port city of Guizhou, where, you know, we did some stuff you know, to retrieve data, what is it, in the shorekeeper quest. But regardless, this black hole in the port city of Guizhou, which is destroyed, what is it, has torn this place apart. My god, it is just ripped this place to shreds after the little event, and it keeps everything suspended in gravity. That's an important quest to play, by the way. But that's super interesting. And, you know, with all the cityscape and stuff, it must lead you to be you know, lead you to believe, especially because it's the next nation on the list, you know, and the very obvious teasing they gave us in 2.7, that this is the new Federation. And you'd be right, but this symbol here is not the new Federation, and I'm going to prove why. You know, and this is where again, light spoilers, this is for a different nation. What is it, and we're gonna dive into sort of full spoilers when we get there, but I'm just gonna say it right now, and then you can listen to me talk about the new Federation and why this is not the new Federation. But at the end, basically the Firaxians say, all right, well, we didn't win here, so we're gonna move on to Lahai-Roi. And Lahai-Roi is, while we don't know anything about it, we can extract a lot of ideas and figure out what the entire deal is with this place. But this background is, I'm going to say, the new Federation, but this symbol and Chisa's affiliation with Star Torch Academy is either Lahai-Roi or the Star Torch Academy. And let's kind of talk about why. So step number one, if you look at the symbol, it's not super defined, and I'm not meaning in terms of quality, but it's very simple, right? It's just a DNA strand and, you know, sort of the triangle, and that's very simple. When we talk about major nations in this game, such as Jinzhou, you know, such as Rinascita, they all represent something very much more akin to deities, and more importantly, you know, something that's very large, right? The amount of detail that is added into these symbols versus the ones that are sort of like, you know, not necessarily side things, but like, for example, the Black Shores, the style of art that they use is very different, right? It's not to say that Black Shores isn't a major player in the story. It obviously is, you know, a gigantic player in the story, is very, very important. But, you know, this style is very different. You know, obviously when we talk about Jinzhou, we have long life, what is it, with the infinity symbol, and of course the gigantic dragon head to represent their nation's deity. We come to Rinascita, we have the wind sweeping, you know, with the sentinel, and then we have that wind is also pushing the ocean along, you know, when it comes to talking about Thernotium. But then lastly, of course, the bearing the torch, you know, which is kind of the main thing and the main symbolism that all Rinascitan sort of carries, to bear the torch. You know, Septimont, you know, this one's a little bit of a weird case because it's technically a sub-region, but, you know, those who will always follow the light, and then, you know, the moon is also following it, and of course the symbol of Griffin. That's why this entire thing, this symbol with the DNA, is not the new Federation. And, you know, to kind of support the evidence going forward, if you don't really know anything about the new Federation, is, you know, again, there's no timeline, there's no nothing that really tells us what the future of Wuthering Waves has, for good reason, because they don't want to stay trapped in one thing. But the general idea of Wuthering Waves going forward is that, you know, we have you know, Rover has 3 elements now, or 3 attributes, and there's 3 left. And thankfully, you know, one of the NPCs from the Pioneer Association, which is the one that goes all the way across the world, what is it, and explores and delivers stuff, right? Or not literally delivers stuff, but, you know, trades information, is that, you know, all the way across the round, they were going through you know, polar oceans, volcanoes, and the Great Rift Valley. And the Great Rift Valley is the nation that most likely comes after the new Federation. What is it? And obviously you can see by the theming here, this is Glacio being distant polar oceans, and then revived volcanoes in the Great Rift Valley. What is it? That's obviously, you know, the fusion rover. So, you know, that'll occur, what is it, you know, a lot later. But to point all of that out is, of course, there's obviously one that I've noticed I'm missing, and that is Electro Rover. And Electro Rover is most likely you know, the next character, because not only is New Federation, the poster boy is called Charo, he's Electro. What is it? The nation supplied, what is it, all the energy to fire off the cannons, what is it, in Jinzhou when we were in Crisis. What is it? It's just kind of the best fit, being also the most technologically advanced civilization. Of course, there's some stuff you can pause and read it if you want here specifically about the New Federation. But yeah, it's just all these things kind of point to this symbol not really being New Federation. There's also some other stuff that's pretty cool that you could kind of connect this all together, is that there are classes of tacit discords, which I'm sure you noticed. You know, some are humans, some are wildlife, some are literally just stones. What is it? But the one that Wuwa hasn't really talked about, and more importantly is trying to hide, is staticoids. Now, staticoids are man-made objects, what is it, that eventually turn into tacit discords. And of course, there's one very specific staticoid, and there's actually more, but Wuwa's hiding it. But the only dictionary staticoid, according to, you know, Wuthering Waves, is the Mecha Abomination. And where does the Mecha Abomination come from? Research. It comes from the silly fruits of, you know, not really knowing what you're doing with science. And of course, you know, that being the Corte Savante, who are, you know, most of them are dead, what is it, or still alive in a different nation. But you know, across Jinzhou, you know, they've set up a few research facilities and then paid the price by making this abomination. But you know, this is kind of very important theme going, you know, not only with our researcher here being you know, Chisa, I'm sorry, Chisa, don't say Chisa, that's the other girl, what is it, but when it comes to Chisa, right, you know, she's not, just doesn't really seem attached to emotions. You know, she sort of just has you know, a perfect sense of analysis and stuff. It's probably gonna be a lot like Baisha, but Baisha has a heart, what is it, because she has friends around her. But this is kind of an important line from Mortefi as well, because if you know, Mortefi is, and in fact there's a lot of resonators from the New Federation, but Mortefi's most iconic line, you know, when talking about it, is, as creators, we must recognize exactly what we are building and for what purpose. And, you know, part of why he doesn't really hang out in the New Federation too often is because you know, he sees that his purpose is better suited to give people tacitite weapons to fight back against the lament, you know, instead of whatever the hell you know, people are doing in the New Federation, because they're just building, sort of technologically advancing without a purpose. And, you know, that's kind of the entire thing here, is that, of course, a lot of it says, oh, okay, well, you know, she's also you know, someone who's pretty smart and fits these themes, so why is she not in the New Federation? Well, again, this symbol and, you know, everything that's kind of going on here doesn't really make sense, what is it, to be, for her to be like, you know, with introducing the New Federation. It'll be connected though, definitely. What in reality is probably happening as the incoming theory, which I have right here, and that of course is Lahai-Roi. So again, 2.7 spoilers. What is it? Turn away now if you don't want to use the timestamps to skip forward, you know. But at the end of 2.7, basically, once again, the Fraxidus talk about how they're gonna do you know, their next plan in Lahai-Roi. And Lahai-Roi is interesting because not only do we not know anything about it, but it clearly is not part of, or at least like, it's obviously something separate from the New Federation. And the only piece that we have to go off of is that the name Lahai-Roi is potentially derived by Bir Lahai-Roi in Hebrew. It is well of the living who sees me from the book of Genesis. Now, of course, if we go ahead and talk about this, and search it up, this is in fact the case. What is it? I know I'm just using overview system because there's literally one thing I want to highlight, but in the biblical context, this name was given by Hagar after the angel Lord found her in her spring of wilderness, and the angel told her to return to her mistress Sarai and promised her descendants that it would become a great nation. Now, Wuthering Waves is going to be no stranger to nations that basically will have not something that is not really sentinel related, and or like giving that kind of blessing. And I think Lahai-Roi is probably going to be one of the first times, or like a sub-region of sort, very similar to Mount Firmament, where there is going to be a situation where we're going to have our first experience of a sentinel-less and Thernodian-less sort of land. What is it? And it'll be really interesting because the kind of technology that they have, clearly stated through Chisa, or at least being someone who's part of the Star Torch Academy, probably there. I imagine Lahai-Roi is probably going to be a subsection, connecting between the New Federation and and the Star Torch Academy. Star Torch Academy is probably on Lahai-Roi, and it's probably something funded by the New Federation to be like, okay, yeah, we can have a godless land, that is ultimately like basically a city state. And I think that's a pretty cool idea, going forward. And there's an insane theory once again by Anxient, and I skipped through all of this, but again, you should go from the top and read this all the way through and check all sort of their presenting evidence, but I think it makes a lot of sense. So kind of the thing here that I'm extrapolating is the Fraxidus always accomplish something regardless of what quest you do, because they're always watching and they're always experimenting with something. But specifically in the penultimate or the finale of Rinascita, they discovered this. Number one, they can create resonators now, and this isn't the same thing as an artificial resonator, something that used to be like old Kartaro, who was an artificial resonator, but creating a resonator basically of just like thinking it, it's like I can make a resonator come to life. And number two is of course being able to incubate the Thernodian's powers and use it in their likeness. Of course, it doesn't mean that it was truly invincible, because thanks to them doing this incubation process, we actually had a chance of shooting Leviathan down, and we did. And then lastly, the ability to have these two resonance have these two powers resonate. Now this is super important because of course the civilization capsule, the MacGuffin that we had at the start of the story, can only be unlocked because the entire thing with Rinascita, right, is that the two divinities merged, both Thernodian and Sentinel merged, and therefore anything created out of it kind of needed the power of both of them because they were technically the same thing. So thanks to Advidius touching it, not really intentionally, right, trying to rescue the civilization capsule, he resonated with it, and then it therefore ended up being the Thernodian's power, and then Rover tried to grab it, and it also ended up being the Sentinel's power. So now the capsule opens, and then we get the entire lordom. So that's super important, right? That's a really big deal. According to the Grand Architect, they're going to conduct their experiment in Lahai-Roi. Why? Based on my guesses, it might as well be fan fiction at this point. I think they're going to create a Sentinel and accompanying resonator to masquerade as Lahai-Roi's original Sentinel. Now that's an interesting thing, and I think it would be a really cool way to do it because this is sort of going to be the precursor, to, and also just gaslighting, because that's Cristoforo's power, because he's coming along with this experiment. But it would be interesting if they did try to create a sentinel resonator situation, because they already figured out Thernodian resonators pretty well, but now they wanted to try and create one for a sentinel or something, something of the sort. And this would be great, for sort of a godless nation, or like a godless sub-city state, because I think, here's the thing, you could technically say that this is something that will happen in the New Federation. The thing is about the New Federation, I have a feeling that their deity is probably going to be instead of what we had so far, is going to be a deity that is ultimately ignored by the rich people, because that's kind of the whole gimmick of New Federation, or the main theme of New Federation is that it's classism. It's just pure classism, what is it, on how the entire nation sort of works, is that the reason Charo is the way he is because he was born into this classism, and then had to live in the lawless zone and fight for his family. What is it? And that's a very short abridged version of his story. What is it? But I don't think, you know, like these concepts, you know, what is it, with Lahai-Roi, etc., what is it, and what the Fraxis are kind of working on, because I think they definitely will try to do this entire thing, maybe specifically like this, and gaslight Lahai-Roi into being thinking that they had a sentinel the whole time. Probably not, but you know, I think the general idea of trying to make, what is it, a fake sentinel, what is it, next up, definitely has some merit. So, you know, credits to Anxient for giving that up. But yeah, this, what is it, this symbol, what is it, or I'll just go to the main art. This symbol is not for the new Federation. It doesn't really have any like electric themes. It doesn't really have any sentinel embedded into it, you know, even though I have a feeling that, you know, the sentinel will be ultimately ignored in the new Federation. And again, this background is the new Federation. It definitely is the new Federation. It'd be very weird if this is also what Lahai-Roi looks like, but I mean, hey, they're the same, what is it, it's the same thing all the way around. But this should be a really interesting sort of subsection, what is it, if they choose to handle it this way, is doing a mini Lahai-Roi arc and then going into the new Federation, because going to the new Federation is going to do a lot to the game. It's going to do a lot. New Federation is basically where a lot of secrets of Wuthering Waves are hiding, so it's very important that Wuwa takes their time kind of jumping into this, and that's sort of my thoughts on it. And I definitely have more to say when it comes to Wuwa taking their time jumping in, because the new Federation again has been their place, you know, for holding on to so many characters, so many characters, you know, in their entire ordeal. Like, look, there's literally 5 resonators that come from this place. So, you know, what is it, outside of the, you know, the evidence I've given, you know, in this video, I do hope that this symbol is not the new Federation, because otherwise that's real lame and also makes no sense at all. What is it, but anyways, yeah, that's gonna be it for you know, again, Chisa's drip marketing. One character sparks this much discussion out of me to talk, what is it, about what is happening in this stuff. And I like to hope that my theories, what is it, and of course other people's theories are right, is that this is, what is it, the next arc of Wuthering Waves is going to be Lahai-Roi and not what is it, not new Federation right away. It will be new Federation, just not right away. Give it a few months. What is it, anyways, if you want to see all the stuff we do here, you can check out what is it, all this other content that we do, of course, of Wuthering Waves. We still have stuff to do in the game, because of course we need to do all sort of the epilogue content, maybe some events and whatnot. And of course, what is it, I'd like to stream Shinobi pretty often. Genshin Impact, I'll think about doing the Archon quest, but we'll see. But anyway, again, just thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.